Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Derry Boy podcast. Now, I haven't done one of these in a while, and I'm just very excited to be sitting down and recording a new podcast. So, to give you like a little bit of context on where I'm at right now, it is currently Wednesday the 23rd of December at 4:23 in the morning, and I'm sitting in my living room. I'm looking straight ahead of me. My TV is at my right, and the Christmas tree is at my left. If I look in front of me just a little bit to the left, I see a fireplace. On top of that is Christmas decorations that have been with us now throughout my entire time of living here. And I'm looking underneath the fireplace and I'm seeing Santa Claus, I'm seeing a snowman, I'm just seeing reindeer. We have a grass reindeer. Then I look over, I see more Santa, and I'm just like looking around, and I'm in my like peak time where I'm tired and I just want to be talking and I want to be vibing and I just like have a lot of thoughts. And this is always like a rare time that I would get to talk to people or whatever, just because I don't like filming videos whenever it's like 4 a.m. to like 9 a.m. because I look and sound a mess. But the good thing with a podcast is, I can come on here with an audio and just have a conversation, and that's something I really cherish in what I'm able to do. In further inspection of my Christmas tree, I'm looking at it, and people always say from where I film my videos that it's slanted. Now, looking at it, I can see that that is the case. It like curves to the right. We have a selection of lights on it this year, and very few baubles, but you know what? The effort was there. I feel like every year, more and more, you lose baubles, right? Can people vouch for that? If you celebrate Christmas and you have a Christmas tree, you lose those little fuckers. Those bauble, oh, those bitches. And so every year we have less and less and less. And this year was actually, oh, the lights that are on there are this exact tree and the lights I had in my room in September. I bought a Christmas tree in like September, August, and it was actually in a bunch of my YouTube videos. So this tree means a lot to me because it is something that I look at and I'm like, oh, I filmed however many videos in front of this. But anyway, the lights on here were very expensive and they shouldn't have been that price. And I can't believe, I did that. But they're basically lights that you put around the tree. So we wrapped it from top to bottom and just, filled it out. There are, I think, 1,000 lights here. And you connect it on the app and you take a picture of your tree. Then you take a video walking around and it maps every single little light. Basically, it flashes a bunch of different colors so your phone picks that up and it scans them, and then from your app you can color in specific ones and stuff, and it's just really 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 cool. And so this is like my addition to the Christmas decorations this year. But back in summer, like I was saying to my family every single day, I cannot wait, for Christmas season, because I am going to redo the decorations. I'm going to redo everything, and it's going to be great. It's going to be festive. And just time went by and time went by, and now I'm looking at the time and it's Wednesday, the 23rd of December, and I'm just like in fucking awe of what has happened with this year and where this year has gone. It does not feel like December for me. Let me get that out of the way. It does not feel like December. It does not feel like Christmas. It does not feel like Christmas time. And for me, Christmas has been what I've looked forward to every single year. If you know me in person or you know about me on my videos, Christmas is everything to me. Christmas season, just coming together with my family. I think it's like a time of year we're all anticipating. So we're all, there, and there's warm feelings, and we play games, and we have Boxing Day, and I associate with that. And whenever I was younger, obviously the Christmas situation was a bit different with, things that you believe and Santa, and progressively as I've grown up, I was always stressed that would Christmas hold that same meaning, and would it still feel, the magical way it did. And I definitely can say that every single year that year has, topped the previous year. And I think whenever nostalgia is involved, it can get a bit hard because obviously you're like you have all those memories attached with Santa presents, or being, the innocence of it and waiting for Santa to come around. And then the older you get, obviously, there's the less fun and festive you can do, and there's more like buying presents and you organizing the meals, and it gets stressful as you grow up because you're an adult and Christmas holds a different meaning. And I think the older I've gotten, though, the more I've enjoyed Christmas and the more it reminds me of the true meaning of Christmas, with like family, friends, loving and just being there with everyone. And my favorite time period of all is from Christmas Eve. Honestly, Christmas Eve, which is so wild because that's tonight. Like, that's today, and it's just, it doesn't feel like it. So my favorite days of the year are that, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and then there's like a couple days in between that where you're not really doing anything at all. And then from there, I think New Year's Eve is the best day of the year. Unpopular opinion, I believe New Year's Eve and day. Less so the New Year's Day, because I think January is kind of shitty as it is. Like, if you think about it, places don't open normally, but this year it's going to be even more fucked because, places aren't allowed to open with like lockdowns and stuff. But like, typically January isn't open as it is. And that means that, that's kind of a suckish period. And I think the day, New Year's Eve, that entire day and the night are like the superior of each year. And in speaking on that, it's always, I would come downstairs just before midnight. I would spend all day eating. That's always what I would do. I would make sure to call friends, check up on people, and then I would come downstairs. We would be watching the New Year's Eve fireworks in London. And then my family would go to bed at like 1 a.m., and I would always stay up and watch the Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. That has just been such a consistent thing in my life, in a pattern of what I've always done for the past maybe 4 or 5 years now, where, I'll celebrate with my family and I'll celebrate with neighbors, with my friends, and they all go to bed and I stay up and I celebrate with the American people. And I think with me always doing YouTube and me always, being on social media and even making making friends, sorry, not fans, in different like stan groups and fandoms, I've came to know many people in the online section, and being able to stay up and the excitement of watching my favorite artists, because they would more so perform in New Year's over in New York rather than over in London. So I would get to watch them, and I would have the two celebrations, and then I would always go to bed and I would always wake up really, really, really early the next day. So keep in mind, I would probably go to bed at like 5 a.m., maybe 6 a.m., honestly, because that's when the New Year's Rockin' Eve would stop. And then I would wake up the next day at, honestly, probably 9 to like 10 a.m. I always just like starting the first day of every year really early and getting the most out of it. But obviously things are going to be different this year because we're being told, stay inside. And it's like, holy shit, we're coming up to March now. Whenever we come up to March, that's an entire year of coronavirus, like, directly affecting over here in Europe anyway. I know it kind of started in the world January and February. And it's crazy to think that in that time I was over in London, and, I was only starting to have to, be wary of people whenever you were out, that you were getting too close to them, whatever. And then I remember whenever we were coming back from that trip, it was like starting to see and hear people talking about wearing face masks. And then it was the next week, like, everything kicked off, and it was just like, wow, I got one final, trip out of this. And so I always thought that I was going to go to America this year. I actually was planned to be in New York with my family. Now, for the first time, I've never been to America before. It's somewhere I've always wanted to go and visit. It's somewhere I always wanted to live, but I think the older I get, the less I want to live in America. Just honestly, which is something I never anticipated. Like, the older I get, I really want to live somewhere nice in Europe, and just it's weird how that's changed, and I think my reality has just warped a little bit to be me or more realistic. So that's, something that I think is interesting as well, how you can just change like that. And it's wild whenever I talk about America, and I've almost like grown out of wanting to live there, because there's a part of me that still does and always will, just because whenever I was younger, that was it for me. It was moving to New York. It was, living my life out there. And I think the more you learn about life and the more you learn about what you stand by, and what you want to do, and how different, places will hold that back, or just even down as simple as just life. And that's weird. And I don't know how to describe that further, but it's just the older you get, the more experiences you get. That's very understandable. But the more experiences you get, that influences what you want to do in your life. And I think, especially over the past couple of years, my life has definitely changed a lot. And it's kind of like, was my plans from 5 years ago still what I see in 5 years? And as of this stage in my life, I can't say that I really predicted what was going to happen. So I mean, I'm just going with the flow, and I'm happy and healthy, and my family are happy and healthy. So what more, can I ask for? But I just want to bring the conversation back to Christmas time and how this year just feels a bit off. And I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory because 2020 has been the year it has been. But I just have to say, like, so that's the 23rd of December. Tomorrow is Christmas fucking Eve. Then Christmas Day, then Boxing Day, then New Year's Eve, and it's like, that's it. That's not only the festive season over, that's 2020 over, and it's looking like 2021 is going to resemble, at least for the first half, 2020. And that's hard, to go in. Yourself, you're going into another year, and you're like having to anticipate what your last year has been. And 2020 was just, she's not been that girl at all. She's actually been a fucking bitch. And being stressed out about the fact that next year could be the same or could be worse is a big factor. But then at the same time, I'm always thinking next year's going to be great. I thought that about 2020. You know what? That wasn't the case. Great things have happened in 2020 for me personally. But just as a year, I'm with everyone on how fucking awful it's been. And so there's always a part of me that every single year will be like, next year's going to be great. You're a year older, you have more opportunities, and especially now being 18, there's a lot more responsibilities, obviously a lot more expected of me, but a lot more that I want to prove to myself and prove to other people. I like proving stuff to myself, definitely way more than I like proving to other people, because at the end of the day, people can have their perception of what I'm doing or who I am, and I kind of just want to be okay with myself and what I'm doing, and I would way more prioritize that over having to give a shit what other people think of me, or think about what I'm doing in that moment. So that's how I live my life and how I plan to always live my life, but you never fucking know. So I do believe, though, that 2021 is going to be a good year. I think it's going to be a healing year. I like just thinking things into existence. Um, I would call it manifestation, but I don't think I'm that deep with it. Like, I'm like, oh, I hope this happens, and I think this is going to happen, and I think that's my extent of it. I would, of course, love to look into it further, because I feel like it would provide me with such comfort in life and a lot more ease. Because I think the older you get as well, there's a lot more things you get stressed out about, and I think manifesting good possibilities and good results happening, conclusions from events, I think would really help me out. So I do need to look into that, and I have friends and family who are very into that, and I think it's just something I have to devote a lot of time to fully grasp, because I couldn't half-ass it, because I feel like I would just be cheating myself. So I do believe it's going to be a good year, and I just want to like take this moment with you directly, and like we can both be like, what do we think we're going to do next year? I'm just going to pose that question to you. What do you want to happen next year? Okay, I'm going to go silent for like 10 seconds to let you think while I'm pouring myself a glass of water and drinking it. Like, what do you want and expect off of 2021. I'm going to think about my answer and share it with you, and I'm going to let you do it. So 10 seconds. What do you expect or what do you want with 2021? Okay, here we go. I'm sorry if you could hear me drinking that. I'm thinking as well. Like, what do I expect from 2021? Have you got your answer? I'm trying to think about mine. What do I expect from 2021? I expect and hope that family is above all, because I think this year especially has taught me that family is everything and family is what it all boils down to, and that's who you love, who loves you. And I think the next thing is friends. I've felt extremely distant from probably all my friends this year. And I mean that in a way of like everyone feels like this, just because you can't be face to face and you have to be on FaceTime and you have to be on Zoom, and you're not allowed to go into college to have an experience and, hold someone, have like physical touch with someone. Like, that is what this year has been. So I definitely hope that next year organizing to see my friends doesn't have to be such a task. Like, it doesn't have to be such a planned, can we do this with restrictions? Can you bring your face mask? Can we stay 4 meters apart? Like, it's just taught me that friends and family, again, is just everything. And at your core, they're who make you you as much as you making you you. And I fully believe that. Like, even who you surround yourself with. And I feel like I'm so grateful that I am surrounded by such great people. And I think in the past, I've seen other people surrounded by theirs, whether they were faking or not, and I didn't have that, and I felt a bit out of touch with, friends or distance or whatever. And I think I always would say, I'm so happy with where I'm at, or I'm so happy with my friends, to try cover up that and try, make myself believe it. But I think, just honestly, in the least bullshit way, this year has taught me that the people that I surround myself with are, ride or dies, and they're not yes men, and they're not bullshitters, and it's not like I look and I think about, who I would say if I was to do 10 people I trust with my entire life. For the first time in my life, I would actually probably fully be able to stand beside 10 people and say their names. And that makes me really happy and content in a way. So they're my main two things. The next is to be motivated, because I think this year has taught me that motivation will be the thing that keeps me going. And it has slumped in parts, like so bad, but it's picked up way more than it has ever slumped. And I'm really proud of myself for that. And that's something I want to continue into the new year and throughout the year. But it's going to take a bit, because going back to Christmas and the holiday season, it doesn't feel like that for me personally this year, because I'm also quite tired. And I'm always tired in like a way of, oh yeah, whatever, tired sleeping. But I just mean this year has been the most tolling on me I think I've ever experienced in my life. There was obviously a lot going on with my college. There's, you're always having your personal stuff. There was, a couple really big, bad, like, events that, like, just hurt me looking back on, that happened at the start of this year. And just throughout the year, I don't think I processed much, and I think I just kept going. And I'm enjoying what I'm doing so much that I'm like, oh, I don't want to look back. And I think, especially in this holiday period, I think of the holidays and I think about reflecting and looking back on your year. And so I think, especially a couple days ago, I was struggling a lot because I was looking back at the year And I was like, I'm so happy now and where I am, and I'm so happy with what I'm doing, and I feel so grateful and blessed. And I'm just looking back on the journey of my year, and I think there were definitely a lot of things that happened that I didn't, spend as much time on as I probably should have. And it affects you looking back because you're like, oh shit, I have to deal with this. And, maybe allow myself to heal, or allow myself to like think and feel and just not be, I have to do a million things at once. Just be at peace and just like accept what's happening and, live in the moment, which is something I've always struggled with. And so I think with that, sorry, I'm just like even processing that myself, um it's a lot. Yeah. And so I look at the year coming up, and it's like you have the holiday period, which is what I just explained and why it's important. So you're kind of like forced into thinking during the holiday thing. So I'm doing a lot of thinking now in regards to my college and feeling kind of overwhelmed with that, and just allowing myself to look back on the year and talk about it with people and with myself. And that's something that I'm doing now. And so I feel like not only I'm running out of time, that the year is coming to a close so shut, I don't know where the month went at all, like just even speaking on like a month basis, because it being the 23rd of December, I remember on the 1st of December posting an Instagram thing that I was going to be posting 4 videos a day on YouTube. Okay? If you were to tell me that was yesterday, I would have been like, yeah, that was yesterday. And so looking at it now, you're like, the month is over. The month is over. And that's a lot to think about. And whenever you just process that, you're like, time is such a weird concept, and time goes so fast and goes so slow in other places. And so that is where I'm at with the holiday season this year. I've been loving Christmas music more than ever. I think it's just been such a consistent thing in my life, and every year you get more memories and more nostalgia with certain songs and more stick. And I think this year was the first year I experienced more Christmas music than ever. I definitely went into a lot of the older classics and stuff, and that was a new thing for me, and I enjoyed that so much. But with that being said, I'm relying on the music and the movies a lot, just because, 2020 has been so rough, and especially with new restrictions and lockdowns coming in, kind of as you're starting the new year, you're like going back to your restrictions that you were having in March, so it's not looking promising. So I, for one, have definitely been depending on Christmas music and Christmas movies, especially. Again, this is one of the first years that I've been just enjoying Christmas things that are in the media outlet. I think in years past, I would always put it off, and then the Christmas season would pass and I would start watching them, and then that's whenever I would be randomly festive in like fucking January and February and March and April and August and July for Christmas. So I'm allowing myself to like actually be fully, engulfed by all of this year, which is a nice thing. And in terms of the Christmas season as well, one of the main things is, being with people and experiencing, and, busyness and everyone doing something. And so the fact that Derry has been in, restrictions and lockdowns, especially over the Christmas period, the necessary shopping time, I haven't felt the most festive in the world, because it doesn't feel like December. Like, it all boils down to not feeling like December. And I look at the year, and I'm mentally in March. I'm literally mentally still in fucking March. And that's such a problem for me, because I love Christmas so much. And don't get me wrong, I'm so excited for Christmas, and it's going to be unreal this year. I think it's going to be great. But I'm allowed to express my feelings, and I think for the longest time I wasn't being vocal about the fact that I was sad that I'm not feeling festive. But then I was like, this is dumb, and I'm going to look back on this next year whenever I'm extremely festive and be like, I wish I was honest, even with just myself at a fucking bare minimum. And so this year is definitely different, but like, I hate reiterating that same point, but just it's such a truth, honestly. And the other thing about Christmas is, you're all being together with your family. And oh, I'm actually sorry, I'm not done my point about going out and shopping. So because I haven't been able to go out into shops and be around people and the busyness and the retail playing Christmas music non fucking stop, and just people being stressed, and that's it at the end of the day. But it's so festive. It's so festive. I haven't been surrounded by that, so I almost don't feel like the Christmas season has started. So I think it's going to hit me when the Christmas season's over, and I'm like, oh. But the thing was, I was like that with summer because I didn't really feel like we had a summer either, and then I was just like, oh, summer's over. Okay. Oh, Halloween's over. Okay. You know what I mean? This year is just going by so quick, and it's really hard to maintain. And so that's again where I'm at with that. And so Christmas being about family as well. My brother is in Belfast, and he has like really strict work. So he'll only be coming down to stay with us like for like one day or something like that, like way after Christmas. And so we're going to be doing like Christmas 2.0 with him. And you see even that, like, it's like I'm enjoying making the effort, and it's going to be great. And I just think about that though, and it's like Christmas is not supposed to be celebrated in 2 different days. Like the full magic on Christmas is that it's one day. It's one day, it's magical, everyone's there, everyone's together. But obviously the older you all get, even just speaking with me, my two brothers, and my mom and dad, obviously having that same Christmas experience is gonna be a bit unrealistic. So we are going to be celebrating Christmas with me, my older brother, and then, mom and dad on Christmas morning. And then a few days later, we're going to be doing another Christmas, which I'm excited for, more Christmas. But it doesn't sit well with me. And I think that's just because, like, people are like, oh, I'm such a hopeless romantic. Like, I would say, like, oh, I'm such a hopeless, like, Christmas fucking stan. I just want it to go perfectly. And I think that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. That Christmas is my favorite time of year ever. Like, it provides me such an unlimited amount of joy, and like it's like one of the few things I think about and like tear up, and like I would cry thinking about this, like listening to Christmas music. Like anytime I listen to Silent Night, the Carpenter's version, I literally cry just because you have, your memories attached. Then like I have my memories with like extended family and my grandparents, and just on Christmas Eve, me and my dad have this tradition that he never says is a fucking tradition, and he forgets that we do it every single year, and we still fucking do it every year. It just started off of nothing, that basically he would be delivering the Christmas gifts, like that was it, to like our family on Christmas Eve, like from like 6 p.m. on. And like one year I was like, can I please go? Like I'm really bored. And it was still whenever I believed in Santa. And that was one of my favorite memories, at least with my dad, but just in general. Because it was so exciting, because he was just having conversations with me the entire time on, Santa. Like if we looked out, we might have seen him. And whenever we get home, like we have the routine, and Santa's coming. And so every single year, me and my dad have done that, and we would go to like my auntie's house, we would go to my granny's house, we would go, you would go to all these people's houses, and it would be a festive moment, and you would see everyone. And it's like, especially that side of my family, I only see them every couple months, so Christmas time was always so exciting because you were seeing everyone. That's different this year. Like I don't think I'm going to be able to go out with my dad this year because we're going to have nothing to do. Things are going to be closed as well. We can't go see family. I haven't seen my granny in literally almost a year because of coronavirus. I haven't seen my granda in literally almost a year. And like my aunties, I haven't seen them. And so Christmas season for me was always, if I hadn't seen them all year, I see them then. And I'm like, oh shit, I haven't seen them all year, and I'm not going to see them now. And that was like, so whenever your restrictions are coming into place and your traditions aren't there anymore and you can't perform them, I mean, it's only natural that your festiveness will be a little bit less than normal. And I think that's what I need to start telling myself as well, because I'm getting so like angry at myself for being negative about the holiday season, but it's just because I care so much about it and I don't want it to be ruined or foiled in any way. And Mariah Carey says that exact thing where she's like, oh, like, no one's gonna foil Christmas for me anymore. And I'm just like the exact same. But I'm speaking even personally for myself. Like, I don't want to have a bad experience with Christmas, because if I do, then next year I'm not gonna be excited for Christmas, because I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so excited for Christmas this year and I'm putting such an expectation on it, and I'm like just realistically gonna let myself down again. Again, Jesus, oh my god. I mean, just like let myself down because I have that expectation. And this is the first year that I have a job, and it's the first year that I'm like able to get people gifts. Like in the past, I would get my brothers, like a cheap aftershave, and my mom like a perfume, and like, that would be my savings for like months. Like, I would literally not take any money out and collect all my money from like, I think honestly around July, and then from July until December I would save up my money to get people gifts. And so this year my situation's a bit different with me having a job, and being able to go out and get someone a nice gift, which I'm so grateful for. Like, oh my god, like this was literally all I wanted whenever I was, a couple years ago, even last year, going through town on Christmas Eve, after going up multiple times and just not being able to afford the things that I wanted for my family, and just feeling disappointed that I wasn't gonna, they weren't gonna like the gift. And they always did like them, but then this year, it's like, this is the first year I believe there's like an expectation on me. And so I don't want to disappoint anyone again. And I know it's not that deep, and I don't have that kind of family. Like, we all are like, if you give us a card and it's thoughtful enough, like, that's it for us, you know what I mean? Like, it's so not about the presents, and it's so not about the gifts. And I think the older I get as well, the more Christmas is like less about that and just being there and being present with your family, which I'm so grateful for. I still just have like a within myself, like more so a pressure than normal. And I think that has just been like stressing me out. And so that was my little like talk on why this Christmas is, personally speaking anyway, being just a bit different. And the thing is, tonight I was like, I've been really sad over the past couple days about this. And so tonight I was like, you know what? I'm not fucking letting this get foiled. I am not allowing myself, like, everyone around me right now is festive as fuck. I am not allowing myself to foil this for myself and then be disappointed with myself the entire upcoming year. I am not allowing myself to do this. And I was even stopping watching Christmas movies over the past few days and listening to Christmas music, because I was like, oh, like, I'll just save it. No, this is not what we're gonna fucking do. Tonight is Christmas Eve. I just watched Miracle on 34th Street, the 1994 version, the best version. Cried. I feel extremely festive. I've been listening to nothing but my Christmas playlist, which is fucking immaculate. I am now, well, I paused it before filming this. I'm watching The Nightmare Before Christmas. We're going to be watching, a Christmas film on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve, I'm going to bake cookies. I'm gonna do festive ass fucking activities, because Christmas Eve was my day where I wasn't in the house all day. I was going out visiting family. And you know what? I'm gonna come up with new fucking traditions. 2020, fuck you, bitch. I'm not letting you foil my fucking Christmas. You see, over the next fucking 3 days leading up to Christmas, bitch, I'm gonna be the most festive fucking person you know. And 2020, you're not gonna take that away from me, you little fucking bitch. Like, I'm gonna be doing new ass traditions. Baking cookies. Who the fuck? I never did that. Nah, I'm gonna be fucking doing it this year. What else? What other fucking... I can't go skiing. They don't do that here. Other ones. I'll come up with fucking other ones. Watching movies I've never watched. Listening to Christmas songs I've never listened to. I'm coming up with new fucking things that I'm gonna associate with this Christmas that are gonna be new nostalgic memories for me. And you know what? No one's gonna fucking take that away from me. Especially you, 2020, you little piece of... You know what? Let's not go there. And so, that's where I'm at right now. I think I'm very excited for just being with my family and like us not being distracted. And that's ironic because I would say I'm probably the most distracted one out of all of us, but like my brother is a streamer and he works all the time, so like if he's not working and on his computer, he's on his computer streaming and I never see him. And my other brother's always away, I never see him. My dad works, my mom works, you just throughout the day you don't see these people as much as what you want to. And that even goes, I would say them saying that about me because, I'm always filming videos. I'm always, working on college work. I'm always doing something, but we all are. And Christmas season, the festiveness of it is that everyone shuts off, even for a day. And you're together in that moment. And I think whenever you're younger, you don't have as much responsibility. So it's like, okay, you're turning off your fucking Nintendo DS, for the day. But now it's like a bigger thing because you're all choosing to not work. You're all choosing to not be on your phone. Whereas back then you're like, oh yeah, I'm, shutting off my fucking Animal Crossing, to go to the dinner table. Like that's it. But whenever you're older, you have to make more sacrifices to be with those people. So it's more of a nice coming together, gratefulness. And that's how I'm looking at it this year. And I think I'm again in the transitional, period between just young adult and adult. I'm only 18, but 19 next year. And so I think it's going to be a good Christmas and it's going to be a good kind of just season. You know what I mean? We're in the last like week and a half now. Week maybe. We have New Year's Eve. We're going to be celebrating this year ending, which is going to be like the first time we're ever celebrating a year ending. But I think we need to be realistic that 2021 is not just going to strike, midnight and things are saved, we're back to normal. It doesn't work like that, and we have to be a bit realistic with that. But I think we will. We'll still be allowed to celebrate, the year ending and a new year and new starts and hopefully just better opportunities. I'm going to be wishing for that. And I think we can get that. I think we can achieve that together. So thank you for listening to this podcast. Again, it's 5 a.m. and I am literally in my sleepy stage right now, which explains croaky voice and just all over the place, like speaking. But you know what? I really enjoyed it. And I'm just looking around again. Some final, like, for this Christmas little podcast. Oh my god, sorry. My new tattoo hurts like a fucking bitch. I got my cat Cookie, who passed away this year, and a Mariah Carey one, and they are both fucking killing me. They hurt so fucking bad. I'm looking around. We have a little red star hanging up, glittery as fuck. We have some like dog ornaments, some little gift ornaments. We have a Dublin ornament from when me and my mom went to Dublin the last day. I could literally cry thinking about that trip, by the way. It just meant so much to me being with my mom and just being able to like make new memories with her, especially whenever both of us are so busy nowadays. So that is from that trip, which is nice. And look, that's another new memory, new nostalgia that I'll look back on next year. Some fucking glitter moments. Again, we have more like Merry Christmas signs. We have an elf on the shelf. I hate the concept of elf on the shelves. The concept of Santa Claus in general is scary and terrifying, right? Like, that man just gets allowed back into your house. Like, what the fuck? Why didn't we question that? Oh, and one funny story I'll end it on. Whenever we were younger, we were in a house that had, like, a chimney. Nice. Then, a couple of years later, we moved house to a house that had no chimney. My mum and dad got an electric, like, fucking chimney or whatever. So, obviously not connected to the wall and was electric. So, I raised the question, how is Santa Claus going to get in here? Because he's not going to fucking zap through, basically just a TV screen playing some flames and putting out hot air. And they were like, yeah, he has a key to every single house in the world. And I think that's where the story started cracking for me, because I was like, bitch, he does not have 7, like, billion keys give me a break. Like, how does he have all of them? You know what I mean? Like, all of them, like, detailed to, like, each room. And my friends were like, oh, yeah, we were told that story too. And it was, like, a magic key. And I was like, oh, that makes more sense. Like, it would mold, maybe, to, like, the size of the, like, keyhole. Oh, that's actually quite interesting. The other one was that Santa was able to stop time. And that's why he got around everyone. That makes a lot of sense, honestly. That was the one that made sense for me. And then just those cute memories from school and, from your childhood. I actually, one memory that always stands out was I would always put a hairbrush down by the chimney for Santa to, like, prove he was real, and he would, like, brush his hair. And I would always wake up the next motherfucking morning and there would be white hairs on that bitch, so he pulled through. And then the last one I have, last little story, I left my Toy Story toys, so like Woody, Buzz, Bullseye, I left them in the living room and wrote a letter to Santa, basically saying that, if he was real, could he, like, make the toys, like, do something or whatever, or, like, stand up, or, like, be in a pose, or, like, could he acknowledge them, or whatever the fuck I did. But the thing was, I told my mom about the letter, and I hid the letter, so the bitch knew about it, you know what I mean? So I really didn't cover my traces there. So I woke up anyway the next morning, and they were all moved, and they were all in, like, a funny position, and, had, like, coal on them, and so, see, they're just things that even, like, make me excited. There's not many things that make me excited about having children, but that's one of the few ones, so that's something I'll always look forward to. I think the older I get as well, the more I want children, which is probably a bad thing. Like, whenever I was younger, I was like, fuck kids, whatever. Like, I still think like that. Like, kids are so fucking annoying. Like, literally, fuck every single child. They are so irritating and so just obnoxious. But the older I get, the more I'm like, okay, raising a child is very dope. You know what I mean? It's a very loose definition of it. So that's interesting as well. I have friends, like my friend Brian wants to have, like, children already, and I'm like, okay, that's pushing it. You know what I mean? Like, give me, like, 10 years maybe. I need to work on me. So anyway, guys, this has been my Christmas little podcast themed. If you've listened this far, thank you so much. I really enjoyed just being chill and talking with you, and I hope you're staying safe. I hope you have a really good Christmas, and if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a really good holiday, period and season, and just last week of December. You know what I mean? Not everyone celebrates Christmas, and that's 100%, okay, and everyone celebrates their different holidays, but just even ending the year, and I know there's different endings of the year, so just coming together at least in this time in December, it's really important, and we all just need to look out for each other, especially just going into a whole ass new year. So 2021, let's see what you have in store, and I hope you're all doing well. So thank you for listening to Derry Boy. I love you and I fuck with you. Bye, bestie.